it's Katherine. Glad we could spend this time together. Today we're going to talk about and practice mindfulness. It's probably a term that you've heard of. Let's get a sense of what it is and how it might benefit us. Mindfulness has been described as a particular way of paying attention. In other words, of drawing your attention purposely or intentionally into the here and now. Now it sounds easy enough. However, many of us are very distracted for much of the time. So before we get into a little further discussion of the mechanics, so to speak, of mindfulness, let's do an experiment. So sit comfortably, have your feet grounded, and just sit up with an upright spine. Good. And then I'd like you to close your eyes. As long as you're comfortable doing that, you're also welcome to keep them open. But I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes, and we'll do this just for about 40 seconds. And that's it. Just notice what you notice. You're closing your eyes, you're sitting, become quiet. And just get a sense of how this experience is for you. Okay. Now go ahead and open your eyes. That was about 30 seconds or so. And if we were together, I'd ask you, what did you notice? What happened? Some of the responses might be something like, well, that felt good. Maybe that felt good just to close your eyes and to just, stop putting your energy out and looking around, right? It's kind of quieting for our mind. You may have also noticed that while you closed your eyes and you were kind of settling in, that you were aware of sounds around you, maybe the person next to you, maybe the sounds that you were making by breathing or fidgeting if you were doing that, and most likely your own thoughts, right? So you maybe became aware of, geez, it's kind of challenging to just sit down, close one eye and not think anymore. Precisely, you've got it. Welcome to the human race. That's exactly the experience, right? We have a part of our mind that's important, is what's called automatic thinking. It's just on kind of non-stop, and that's where we kind of go over our to-do list, think of what we may have to do tomorrow, remember what we did yesterday, plan, judge, analyze, all of that kind of stuff, and remember. So when we do the practice of mindfulness, we want to not shut that down. That's impossible, right? We're not trying to stop that from happening. What we are doing is we're shifting our attention from all of that commotion, so to speak, that automatic thinking, to a different place. And that different place, depending on the practice, could be something like your breathing. It could be a word or a phrase that you repeat to yourself, something pleasant or uplifting. You could have a stone in your hand and bring your attention to the stone. So again, it's where we're directing our attention away from all the merry-go-round of one thought after the other, right, in a particular way. So we're doing that very intentionally. So let's do another experiment, and we'll try to do just that. So let's use our breath, okay, as a point of focus for our attention. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're sitting comfortably in the same way. And just notice that you're breathing. Go ahead and close your eyes again if you choose to. And like we did earlier, just about 30 or 40 seconds, you're simply going to notice that you're breathing. And you might even say to yourself, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, and continue to do that. Okay, good. So we had these two experiments. One, we didn't have an object to pay attention to. We just closed our eyes and we were just noticing what happens, right, when we do that. Maybe lots of thoughts. And the second experiment, we gave our attention an anchor or a focus, and that was our breathing. Now, what might have happened, right? And assuming maybe that this happened for some of you, for many of you, it happened for me too, is that those two experiences overlapped a little bit. So there was maybe a few seconds where you were completely honed in and focusing on your breathing, and you were inhaling, exhaling, and you were noticing that experience. And then you had a thought, right? Then you were thinking like, geez, maybe how long is this gonna last? Or is everyone else doing it? Some other thought, or I have to remember to pick up such and such after this session. All right, so both of those experiences kind of overlapped a little bit. And there you have it. Like, that is the practice right there of mindfulness. And what we do differently in the mindfulness practice is that we notice that our mind has wandered off to those automatic thoughts, and we just keep turning our attention back to that object. And in this case, in this experience, it was the breathing, right? So it's not as though all of those automatic thoughts just stop because we decide to practice mindfulness. They're there on that little merry-go-round going round and round, and we sit down and we intentionally keep redirecting our attention or our focus back on the here and now, or on the breath in this case. So let's do that, all right? Let's spend about maybe 4 minutes, I'll time it, of that practice. So here's what I want you to do. Expect that you're gonna have thoughts, even if you don't want to. Expect that you will. And when you notice that you're having thoughts, that's good. That means you become aware of that automatic process. Then just turn your attention, it's like taking a U-turn, just turn your attention back to your breathing. All right, let's give it a go. So some things that help prepare us, we'll have a little more success in this practice, is to have your feet grounded on the floor. Sit up with a long spine. You don't want to be rigid, but you also don't want to be collapsed, okay? Because this will keep you more awake and alert. Relax your shoulders, maybe stretch your neck a little bit. Let's do that actually together. Just a little bit back and forth, and maybe from side to side. Okay. Great. All right, I think we're ready. So, your breath is your anchor for your attention. All right, because we all have that. So we don't have to go find some other object or a word. All right, if you'd like to, you're gonna look straight ahead. So bring your gaze straight across the room. And if you are choosing to, close your eyelids over your eyes, but keep your eyes directed straight across the room, and let your hands relax in your lap. Relax your hands, your fingers, and soften your abdomen. And even though we're seated upright, just make sure that your chest is lifted up a little bit, since many of us rather, tend to kind of sink in this area. So just keep your chest slightly lifted, but your shoulders soft, and your throat and jaw hinges relaxed. And let your attention just for a moment move right to the space between your eyebrows. That's sometimes called the third eye. But feel that area and relax the muscles of your forehead and that space between your eyebrows. And then bring your attention to your throat. And relax and soften your throat and all of your speaking muscles. And then drop your attention to your chest. And just feel that area. Soften the muscles of your chest. And then last place, just kind of land your attention just below your rib cage, right around the area that's called your solar plexus. It's just below your sternum. And just let your attention rest there for a moment. And relax your abdomen. All right, so we're just going to hold our attention a little bit deeper in our body like that. And by relaxing your abdomen, it's going to be helpful because your breath will slow down and sink more deeply into your lungs. All right, so let's now hold our attention on the breath and feel the breath as a sensation, right, that arises in your body. Like when you breathe in, you may feel a stretching sensation or a filling sensation. And when you breathe out, you may feel an emptying or a softening or gentle contracting. Just notice your breath and your body moving together. And keep your attention on your breath. Remember, if your attention wanders, and it will, it's good that you notice that your attention wandered and just do a U-turn and bring it back to your breath. It's as simple as that and as challenging as that. Keep returning your attention to your breath. As many times as your mind wanders or your attention wanders, you take that U-turn and redirect it towards your breathing. You're not trying to stop thoughts. You're not trying to shut out any sounds around you or in your environment. You're just choosing to bring your attention to your breath. And what's so beneficial, what begins to become really helpful, is that when you're paying attention to your breath is happening in the present, in the here and now. So you could say you're very much focused or aware, present in the moment. And just get a feel for that. Just another minute or so. You're doing great. Stay with it. There's nothing more you need to do. In the next few breaths, you take your time. You're going to open your eyes and do it slowly. If your eyes have been closed, you just kind of open them maybe part way and let your eyes adjust to being open. And just take in the experience of what you just did. How did that go for you? What do you notice as a result of doing that? Now, again, if I were with you right now, I'd ask you that question, like, what are you noticing? And some of you may say, I felt really good, like I really needed that. It's very quieting, it's like relaxing. Not everyone had that experience. Some of you may have said, I didn't like that. That was really hard. I couldn't sit still. My mind didn't shut off. There's not a right or a wrong experience, and both are very common, right? There's like, oh, that felt really nice, and that was really hard, because we're so used to being on that kind of roller coaster of one thought after the other. So just quiet everything down the way we did might have felt weird or uncomfortable or really challenging. So the good news is that's normal. So don't worry about it, right? That is normal. You just notice that about yourself, and that's good. You became aware of, wow, my mind is just nonstop all the time. So that's good self-awareness. And that with practice, everything becomes easier. So I encourage you, even if it's 1 minute, okay? So everyone has one free minute a day, I'm imagining, right? 1 minute, maybe once a day or 3 times a day. Just take 1 minute and do what we just did. You just sit down, hopefully in a relatively undistracted area, and then you choose your object, right? It might be your breath. You could hold a stone and just bring your attention to that, or you may have a word or a special phrase that you love to repeat to yourself, and you would do just what we did. Every time your attention wandered off, bring it back. Even if it feels overwhelming, just stay with the practice. You'll get used to it. It's like building a muscle, right? Like building your biceps. You'll get better at it. You'll get your ability to pay attention in the here and now is going to get stronger. So I wish you the best in this practice, and I look forward to seeing you. Take good care.